I'm having a wonderful chat with author, director, actress, film, television, Alison Sweeney, who is going to be coming to Santa Barbara this weekend. Saturday at 8 o'clock at the Libero Theater and Sunday at 3 p.m. at the Libero Theater. This is the Santa Barbara Choral Society's third Hallelujah Project. It's called Hallelujah Project 3. And Alison Sweeney is going to be reading Twas the Night Before Christmas, that amazing, iconic poem in our culture, and she follows in the footsteps of a couple of other folks. We had Fanny Flagg read Twas the Night Before Christmas a couple of years ago, and last year we had Stephanie Zimbalist. So Alison, welcome aboard for this reading.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Sure, and it's going to be, again, the concert is Santa Barbara Choral Society and with full orchestra. You'll have an orchestra accompanying you while you read, and many, many other things going on. It's a full-on choral celebration of the holidays, including this wonderful reading of Twas the Night Before Christmas. You know,
Yeah, they have a whole spectacular evening planned. I mean, the whole night is going to be really wonderful. I'm excited.
absolutely, and thank you again for being so kind as to be the third annual celebrity reader for the Choral Society. And this brings this subject up. I mean, in reading your bio, you have been in the business since the age of 4. So
Yep.
there is no fooling around. You know where all the skeletons are, where everything is. You were 20 years on Days of Our Lives from the age of 16. I mean, as the character Sammy Brady, you have been host of The Biggest Loser for 8 years. You have now branched out. You're producer, you're star of rom-com movies, and author of novels. I mean, Opportunity Knocks is going to have its come out in April, and director a couple of episodes of General Hospital. Here's what drives me crazy about people like you. How can you, and you're raising your husband and your 2 children on besides,
Doing my best, yeah.
what influences, what persons, what providences, I mean, what has allowed you to keep your life together like that these years?
Well, I mean, I feel like so much of the credit belongs to my parents. I was brought up with really active and outgoing parents, and my dad is in finance, and he is now an entrepreneur who is more out there and living his dream, and it's so different from my skill set and certainly what I'm good at. But I've always seen him just out there and working hard and plugging away and always making things happen, and for himself and his career. And my mother is a concert violinist,
Oh, really? I
and
didn't
very
know.
involved with the music in Santa Barbara. And in fact, that is how I met my
Amazing.
husband. My husband is his father is a violinist, and my mother and his father worked together for 30 years, making amazing soundtracks for feature films. And so music has always
Fabulous.
been a big part of my life. But seeing both of my parents just go out there and pursue their passions, pursue their
Mm.
dreams, and make them a career is just always inspired me. And for me, I think I'm a storyteller. I love
Mm.
getting an audience invested in what that story is and what that dream is, and affecting them. And however I can make that happen is sort of just such a miracle for me. So I love every bit of it.
And do you know I'm a conductor?
I did not know that.
So I had no idea you had such musical parents. So
Yeah, well, there you go.
wonderful,
We
wonderful.
both have that in
You know,
common.
you're going to be reading Clement Moore's classic poem, "Twas the Night Before Christmas," and part of me wants to ask, what I kind of have a memory. I think when was the first time somehow that poem came into your consciousness? I presume as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, I almost don't even know like a time when I didn't know that poem.
Hmm.
For certain my mother read it to me when I was young. We read a lot together when I was growing up, so I'm sure that's when it first came around. But "Twas the Night Before Christmas," really, when I think about it, I remember that it's the first thing I thought about when I was when I had my own kids, that I
Hmm.
wanted them to have that experience and I wanted to share it with them. And it's the first Christmas story I read to them when they were babies. So, I mean, I think I really remember it being like the first thing I thought about in getting ready for Christmas with my infant children. They were a bit young for it, but it's just always been that story that's just so timeless and perfect and in keeping with the spirit. And in fact, I was practicing it the other day, and I was reading it for my kids, and my daughter is so cute. She's 6 years old, and she said, "Mommy, is that true? The whole part about the rose such a clatter or whatever. I mean, like it's just so
Hmm.
sweet, you know. She's like, "Is that a true story?" And I said, "Well, I think it's based on, for sure, based on true story."
Well, you answered the second part of my question, which was about your kids and whether this tradition, this iconic imagery, even as you described it, the imagery is so
Yeah,
exciting.
it's so
Uh,
it's so visual, and it's funny because you think about how so many things are really relevant to the time, and if you read something from the '80s, you would really hear the '80s in it, and in some ways that could be true of this. It's very period, and
mm,
yet it manages to encapsulate, like it capture the imagination of everyone, young and old, no matter what time period you're in. And my kids, I mean, they were just just in rapture
mm,
for it even today.
yeah, me too. As an adult, I
Yeah,
resist, then I kind of have a look at it, and once again, everything triggers in, and I'm in love with the story again. I want to ask you one last question, and then I'm going to let you go. I know that you are fitness ambassador for the City of Hope.
yeah,
And I, we're entering the holidays. I don't want this to be too flip, but I know that you take this very seriously. I've seen you on some interviews about health
yeah.
and having a healthy family and healthy eating. Give us the best advice you can about how to weather this period and still remain healthy.
Sure. It's so important during the holidays to not forget about, something that you're thinking about all year round, which is should be your health and the health of the people that you love around you. And so I do think that, that it's really important to be realistic about where you're going to be going, and if you're going to a lot of holiday parties and events, figuring out knowing what you're heading into is an important part of the battle. But also, it's important to give yourself a break and know that, you know what, you might have some sugar cookies coming your way this holiday season. So if you can plan around that by making sure that everything else you eat is really healthy, you've got the right track, and for me it's about, like, I think a lot of people make the mistake of, oh, I'm going to go to a party tonight, so I'm not going to eat anything today. But I think that's a mistake because you end up eating a lot more of the
Of course.
unhealthy food because you're so hungry.
Yeah.
So if you really try to make sure that you're providing yourself with all the nutrition that you need and filling up on healthy things through the day, then when you go to the party, yeah, you're going to have some beautiful cheeses, and certainly in Santa Barbara, I know you have access to some amazing gourmet food up there. And so, but if you come to it, having filled yourself up with some healthy food on the way, you can indulge a little bit and have fun, but not get so carried away. It's all about portion control. And so having a little bite here and there is exactly the right way to enjoy the holidays, but not get carried away.
Alison Sweeney, you have made me feel much, much better about the approaching engorgements I will try to avoid. Alison Sweeney, actress, director, movie star, television, film, the works. We are going to be able to watch Alison Sweeney narrate "Twas the Night Before Christmas" this coming Saturday evening at the Libero Theater at 8 o'clock with the Santa Barbara Choral Society, and Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock in the same theater, the Libero Theater. Alison, thank you very much indeed for giving me a few minutes of your
Of
time.
course. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to seeing you there.
Oh, you will.
All
See you.
right.